Hello, you're watching Shalom World News. I'm Dana Villa from Chicago, USA. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. Archbishop Schnurr of Cincinnati has urged Catholics in Ohio to oppose a ballot initiative in November that seeks to enshrine the right to abortion in the state constitution. The prelate claimed that the proposed amendment, titled the, quote, right to reproductive freedom with protections for health and safety, end quote, would legalize the right to kill babies in the womb while harming women and families in the process. He made the statement in a letter that was posted on the website of the Archdiocese. In the letter, the prelate also says that the amendment would jeopardize parental rights. The amendment's ambiguous language makes it possible for anyone under the age of 18 to start receiving cross-sex hormone therapy without parental permission or notification, he alleged. If the amendment is passed, it would permit abortion up to 9 months into the pregnancy. The Archbishop also asked Catholics to pray for the defeat of the amendment. U.S. Republican Congress members expressed grave concern over the Biden administration's funding given to a global organization that promotes atheism overseas. Earlier this month, 3 members of Congress sent a letter expressing worry over the funding efforts to propagate atheism around the globe. The letter was addressed to Acting Assistant Secretary Aaron Barkley of the Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labor and Ambassador at Large Rashid Hussain of the Office of International Religious Freedom. In the letter, they specifically mentioned a 2021 Notice of Funding Opportunity Program, or NOFO, entitled Promoting and Defending Religious Freedom Inclusive of Atheists, Humanists, Non-Practicing, and Non-Affiliated Individuals. One of the programs of NOFO includes enhancing the capacity among members of atheist and heterodox individuals to form or join networks or organizations. A Costa Rican bishop has prayed for the release of detained Nicaraguan Bishop Rolando Alvarez during a pilgrimage to the international Marian sanctuary of Lourdes in France. Bishop Manuel Eugenio Salazar Mora wrote on Facebook on August 12 that he placed all the intentions for Bishop Alvarez on the altar of the grotto in Lourdes. He also placed a picture of the jailed bishop at the feet of the Holy Mother at the exact spot where the miraculous spring originates. He expressed hope that the Mother of God protects Bishop Alvarez so that he can exercise his pastoral ministry with freedom. Bishop Alvarez was convicted on February 10 after being unjustly accused of being a traitor. In February, the Costa Rican bishop arrived at the border of Nicaragua to pray for the freedom of the detained prelate. While addressing members of the Spanish Catholic Action, Pope Francis encouraged them to weave bonds of fraternity and bear the light of the gospel. He spoke to more than 800 people from 41 dioceses across Spain who were taking part in the 14th General Assembly of the Christian Workers Movement of the Spanish Catholic Action. The Holy Father exhorted them to build a more just society, to be God's people during their working life. He lamented the fact that unemployment continues to affect many families. The pontiff said, "The Church bears the responsibility of standing in solidarity with people who face despair and exclusion due to joblessness." Pope Francis also expressed his appreciation for the organization's dedication to helping the Church accompany Catholics in the workforce. Recalling his words in Evangelii Gaudium, the Holy Father said that work is an essential component of life and human dignity. A senior United Nations official has expressed concern over indiscriminate Russian attacks against civilians in Ukraine. The recent attacks have resulted in more deaths and injuries in the country's southern areas while impeding assistance operations. In a statement, UN Humanitarian Coordinator for Ukraine, Denise Brown, condemned the indiscriminate attacks that targeted individuals and civilian infrastructure. She said people in the south, including in Kherson and Odessa areas, have experienced a particularly harsh weekend. According to news sources, a whole family, including a baby, were among the victims. Schools, hospitals, and homes were all affected. Brown stressed that civilians and civilian infrastructure must be respected and should never be a target. She also condemned a Russian attack targeting a hotel in Zaporizhzhia used by UN and NGO personnel. In the attack, one person was reportedly killed and 16 others left injured. Cardinal Secretary of State Petro Parolin is on a 4-day visit to South Sudan to show the Church's solidarity with the disaster-struck region of Malakal. The high-level visit is also aimed at reaffirming the nation's efforts towards peace. Before his visit, the Vatican Secretary of State spent a few days in Angola, where he presided over the episcopal ordination of Archbishop Penamot. Archbishop Stepan Ameo Martin Mula of Juba said the main purpose of Cardinal Parolin's visit is to be in the Diocese of Malakal, which is hit by natural disasters. Archbishop Mula said this is Cardinal Parolin's second solo visit to the African nation, calling it an expression of the Pope's love for the people of South Sudan. The Holy Father visited the country in February 2023 following extensive efforts on the part of the Church to seek peace among the rival factions. In Peru, a pro-life member of Congress has alleged that pro-choice groups are weaponizing the case of a minor who was sexually abused by her stepfather to promote the legalization of abortion. A spokesperson for the Life Family Caucus and member of Congress, Alejandro Munante, said that the abortion lobby was utilizing the case of the 11-year-old abuse victim. He alleged that nothing was being said about the protection and accompaniment of the child. On August 9, the Ministry of Women and Vulnerable Populations reported the incident of the girl who was abused in the city of Iquitos in the Amazonia region in the northeastern part of the country. The National Maternal Perinatal Institute of the Ministry of Health has said that a second medical body has authorized a therapeutic abortion on the girl who was 18 weeks pregnant. A group of Catholic bishops from the United States and Japan have joined hands to work towards a world without nuclear weapons. The partnership declaration was signed by Archbishop Peter Michiaki Nakamura of Nagasaki, Bishop Alexis Shirahama of Hiroshima, Archbishop Emeritus Joseph Takami of Nagasaki, and Archbishops John Wester of Santa Fe and Paul Aitchen of Seattle. The bishop signed the pact at the end of the pilgrimage of peace to Japan, in which the two American prelates took part in. The pilgrimage was organized to commemorate the 78th anniversary of the atomic bombing of Nagasaki on August 9, 1945. Both the U.S. archdioceses are in the areas that are linked to the production and deployment of nuclear weapons. In the declaration, the five prelates sought concrete progress in this effort by August 2025, when the 80th anniversary of the bombing will be observed. According to figures released by the United Bible Societies, 35.5 million people around the world received a Bible in 2022. The figure is encouraging, as it is millions more than the figure recorded in 2021. The announcement was made by the president of the Dutch-Flemish Bible Society, Raetwoord Bettenwerf, who stated that Bible societies around the world are working hard to provide access to the Bible for as many people as possible in different countries in book, digital, or audio formats. When taking into consideration the incomplete exemplars, the number of distributed Bibles totals to 166.4 million. The distribution of the digital Bibles is also promising. Handing out Bibles in war-torn Ukraine is also remarkable. According to the Ukrainian Bible Society, about 500,000 Bibles, including children's versions, have been handed out. The United Nations is continuing its humanitarian assistance in impoverished Niger in West Africa, which is experiencing political turmoil. Nearly 3 weeks after President Mohamed Bazoum was ousted in a military coup, the UN is continuing its humanitarian aid. Despite the challenges, UN aid agencies are reaching out to people, according to United Nations spokesperson Stefan Dujarric in New York on Monday, August 14. As many as 4.3 million people in the country rely on humanitarian assistance. Cash assistance and food items were distributed to 22,000 people in the Maradi region of central Niger last week. Dujarric said in the press meeting that the UN was working in tandem with the de facto rulers of Niger to identify and prepare a site to lodge 13,000 internally displaced people in the Uru Gelajo in Tillaberi region. He said they were forced to leave their villages in the middle of last month before political crisis ensued. A nurse from the U.S. who was released from captivity in Haiti last week has said that a Christian hymn became her battle cry when she and her baby were kidnapped from a school campus. On Wednesday, August 9th, Alex Dorsonville and her daughter were freed unharmed in the Caribbean country. This was announced by the Elroy Haiti group founded by her husband. Alex said that after she was abducted, she remembered the song See a Victory by North Carolina-based Elevation Worship Music Initiative. Alex said that she was inspired by a part of the song that says, "You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good." She and her child were released 2 weeks after they were abducted at gunpoint from a campus of a Christian school near the capital, Port-au-Prince. Abductions and specific targeting of missionaries are on the rise in Haiti, which is under the grip of violent gangs. In Muslim-majority Pakistan, Christians and civil society groups have expressed concerns over two bills passed by the legislature. The groups allege that the Criminal Laws Amendment Act increases punishment for blasphemy charges, while the National Commission for Minorities Bill 2023 fails to provide adequate protection for minority rights. As per the Criminal Laws Act passed in the Senate this month, those who insult the Islamic prophet, his wives, and family members will be given life imprisonment instead of the 3-year term earlier. This was pointed out in a statement by Christian Solidarity Worldwide. Civil society and minority communities warn that this could fuel human rights abuses. There are allegations that the National Commission for Minorities Bill's provisions are inconsistent with the UN Paris principles. Rights groups allege that the provisions fall short of meeting the directives of the Pakistan Supreme Court on June 19, 2014. On Monday, the Supreme Court in the U.S. state of New Jersey ruled in favor of a Roman Catholic primary school that fired a single teacher when she became pregnant. Art instructor Victoria Crisistello was fired by the school authorities, citing a breach of their employment contract. In 2013, Cristello claimed that the Church of St. Teresa had treated her unfairly. She told the school that she was expecting when the principal asked her to teach art full-time. A few weeks later, the institution informed her that she could no longer serve at St. Teresa because she had broken the ethical code of the Archdiocese of Newark. The code stipulates that staff must conduct themselves in a manner that is consistent with the discipline, norms, and teachings of the Archdiocese. After examining whether the teacher was fired for being pregnant or for violating the terms of employment, the top court sided with the school. An Iranian teenage girl who celebrated her release from custody after participating in anti-hijab protests has alleged that she was kidnapped and tortured twice by the regime before detention. 17-year-old Sonia Sharifi became the new symbol of defiance against the regime after a picture of her atop a car was circulated on social media. The Hangal Organization for Human Rights reported that the 17-year-old was tortured and abused by government forces after being kidnapped. The organization said that she was left alone in one of the streets of Abdanan after being threatened, interrogated, and tortured for more than 2 hours. Sonia was arrested by security forces on November 19, 2022, and she was released on bail from Elam Central Prison on December 15 the same year after almost a month behind bars. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us tomorrow. In the meantime, you can visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.